Hi everyone, it's Lynn Horde here, the Joy Coach, founder of Joy School and creator of the blog Insider Tips to Everyday Joy. Today I wanted to talk to you about 3 steps that you can take to shift yourself out of a bad mood. And I'm sharing that today because I have used them this morning, so I thought I would share my process for actually shifting my energy. Now, it's perfectly normal and understandable for us to have bad moods. Again, we're human, and it's just part and part of being on this planet and living as a human being. But the thing is, we don't always want to be in a bad mood, do we? And we're not necessarily taught very often how we can actually shift our energy and our mood. So that's why I'm on here today, to let you know how I do it, and so maybe you can try it yourself next time you're having a bad mood. Maybe you wake up in the morning on the wrong side of the bed, as we can say in our culture, or maybe you have an argument and that puts you in a bad mood, or perhaps you've done something at work and it hasn't quite turned out the way you want, so you're feeling a bit disappointed or something like that. So there are many different ways that we can be in a bad mood, or that can trigger our bad moods. And that kind of is the first key around it. So the first step is understanding that usually our bad moods, the emotions that come from those bad moods, are actually, they're triggered by something, generally speaking. Something in the outside world, or something that we perceive has happened in the outside world, actually triggers those emotions in us and the bad mood. So the first step in my process is trying to figure out what the trigger is and what the underlying emotion is. So, this morning, and I usually do it by sitting down with my journal, and within 5 to 10 minutes, I usually can figure out what is it that I'm really feeling. So what's the emotion, what's the fear, or, what is it that's upset me? And it's getting that insight from it, because that's what our emotions are. They're just often there's signals from our body to let us know something is amiss, and they're just kind of like red flags going, we want you to, the body's saying, we want you to have a look at this. So we're sending you this emotion or this feeling so that you can spend more time and actually discover what it is going on. So the first step for me is sitting down with my journal. I start writing because I don't always know what's going on. So I sit there and I write and I say, this is how I'm feeling, these are the things that have happened. And usually within 5 to 10 minutes, I'll get a ping. I'm like, oh, that's what's going on. So that's something I'd recommend you trying if you can, is just spending 5 to 10 minutes with your journal to uncover what that insight is. Because what you're doing is you're discovering something new about yourself. Something is coming from your subconscious into your conscious. You're gaining awareness of something that's going on for you. So that's the first step. And then the second step is actually, once you've got that nugget, so the learning, as I call it, the piece of information that your emotional bad mood's trying to help you understand. So the second piece is actually being grateful for whatever the circumstances are that brought you that piece of information. Because anytime we can understand ourselves better or get insight on why we behave or react in certain ways, it's like another piece of the puzzle of who we are as a human. And it's things like, for instance, you've had an argument with your boyfriend or someone at work, and when you finish journaling, you discover, oh, actually they've crossed a boundary that I didn't realise they'd crossed, because that's often the way with boundaries. People will cross our boundary, we get upset, and then that's when we realise we need to put a boundary in place. So, that experience, the person crossed your boundary, and although it made you upset, it actually helps you to discover you need a boundary in whatever that situation was. So it's really valuable information. So it's about being grateful for the circumstances, because they've helped you discover that piece of information, the nugget that can then help you put in place a boundary, and then that doesn't happen again. In Joy School, I call this the third level of gratitude. So the first level is, what is the thing that you're grateful for? The second one is why, the emotion, what does it make you feel? And then the third thing is, when a circumstance is not good, so to speak, it is around, what is the silver lining in that circumstance? So that's how I'm talking about gratitude in this situation. The thing wasn't good, the circumstances, they made you feel upset, but they have actually helped you uncover a really valuable piece of information for yourself. So the second step in the process is actually saying out loud or in your head or in the journal, you know, I'm really grateful for XYZ, the experience, because it helped me discover XYZ, the nugget. And then the third step in the process is once we've got that information, because getting the information by itself, the learning, which is what your body wants, can instantly release and change your mood, because that's like, oh, you've got it now, we don't need to be in a bad mood anymore. But sometimes it can linger, you know, particularly when we've had strong emotions. So the third step is actually taking an action that shifts your energy, that you know makes you feel uplifted, makes you feel nurtured, you know, makes you laugh, you know, whatever that could be for you. And we're all different, so all of these things are different for us. So for me this morning, once I'd done the journaling and had the gratitude for the learning, I then went to yoga. For me, that's really nourishing, and it also gets me out of my head for a while and into my body, which is really good. And so that was what I did this morning. But other things that other people do, and some of my clients do, is they will call a friend, you know, a really good friend, and have a chat, which is a feeling of connection and making them feel uplifted. You can go for a walk in nature, you can sit on the grass in your backyard, you could have a bath, you could change your environment. So maybe it's a case of you want to go to the local coffee shop, you know, and just be around people even though you're not talking to them. It could be sitting down to watch some comedy, or, you know, whatever it is. And when you're kind of besieged by emotion, it's often like you just like, and I do this a lot, I'm just like, right, what is it again that I do that makes me feel uplifted? Because I just in the moment can't necessarily always remember. So I have now kept a list in the back of my journal. I've actually got a list of things to remind me, okay, these are the things that you like to do that shift your energy when you're not feeling so great. So those are the three steps. The first one is try and uncover the nugget behind what your emotion is trying to tell you. The second thing is to then be grateful for whatever the circumstances were that allowed you to discover that about yourself. And then the third thing is take some action to actually shift your energy, raise your vibration to something that's more positive. If you found this really helpful today, please do share it with your friends. And if you'd like to know when I'm going live again next time, you can press the subscribe button, which is just below the video. Until next time, be joyful and share the good vibes, and I'll see you again soon.